Good evening, you guys. It's your boy, B. Mahari here, representing MehariNation Sports Podcast. Welcome to episode 25 of Basketball Conversations. Much love to the entire LDBC and the basketball community. You understand what I'm saying? I know we're all stuck on quarantine. Not much sports is going on right now, but I'm glad that you guys can come down here on a Friday evening, and we will discuss some basketball here tonight, though, guys. You understand what I'm saying? Make sure to share the live stream, hit the like button, and then also, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for all the latest notifications when we go online. As I see Tay Brown into the building, yeah, you're gonna get yourself some sleep, Tay. It's gonna get real busy in that hospital. I'm telling you. What's up, Chick Nolte? How you doing, my brother? Welcome. You understand what I'm saying? So we're gonna got some things on the menu today. I'm gonna talk about Giannis not going to Golden State, and it's already been confirmed by various reports. Also, we're going to discuss about episodes 7 and 8 of the Last Dance documentary. We're heading into the home stretch of this great documentary too, guys. So we're going to reflect on episodes 7 and 8, you know what I mean, and prepare for episodes 9 and 10, the series finale. And I'll tell you this though, right now, I enjoyed the documentary from his start to finish, and I can't wait to watch the final episode so I can finally get rid of my YouTube TV account. You understand what I'm saying? Man, it's pricey in the motherfucker, but it's all worth it, man, because I loved every single minute of that documentary. So with no further ado, let's get down to business here. All right. Tay says, no, I'm not going to bed. Still doing one in the chat. First of all, Tay, listen. All right. I can stay up as much as I want to. You understand what I'm saying? And let me say one thing clear. You understand? You better try everything you can to catch me, because you're gonna have to try everything you can to catch me if you're gonna get some of me. You understand? All I need is the letter strap to deal with you. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm being a fool again, so just playing. Just playing. Anyway, let's get down to business here, shall we? All right. So I've been, looking around, specking around, you know, uh, and seeing a lot of Golden State fans trying to chant to, of Giannis and Antetokounmpo coming to Golden State. You know what I mean? But I'm glad now that the reports are kind of shutting that theory, because, listen, right now the Golden State Warriors do not have enough salary space to try to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay, it would be a dream for the Golden State fans, I'm sure of that, but it ain't happening, because they would have to dump a lot of their salary to try to get Giannis Antetokounmpo, which means they would have to scrap a large chunk of their roster to get him. All right, to begin with, you would have to chunk Klay Thompson and Draymond Green up out of their contracts to make room for Giannis. Okay, and this would leave only Steph Curry, who's now 32 years old, to basically pair up with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay, and we also have to consider the fact that also another thing. All right, the big thing that we also have to consider the fact is that Andrew Wiggins still has that big money contract he signed with the Timberwolves a couple of years ago, and that's still on the books. So if the Bucks wanted to trade Giannis, they would have had to at least incorporate Andrew Wiggins into the mix. But I'm gonna tell you something right now, it ain't happening. All right, the Bucks will not trade Giannis for Andrew Wiggins. It makes zero sense. And plus, Giannis doesn't even want to play in Golden State, because he knows what the perception is going to be when he plays in Golden State. You know what I mean? As I see my brother 225 girl in the building, what's going on? And my loyal subscriber Frank Casson foremost in the building. George Page says, "Oh no, mommy and daddy are fighting." You know what, though, George Page, bro, man, you always like to troll around. You know that. You know how that is. Okay, but yeah. See, it ain't happening. I hate to break it to you, Warrior fans. It ain't going to happen. If Giannis is going to leave Milwaukee, it would be two ways. It would either have to stay or probably go to Toronto, because Masai Ujiri and Giannis have a good relationship with each other. And the big reason is Masai Ujiri helped Giannis and Antetokounmpo's family relocate from Greece to the United States when Giannis first got into the NBA. So anywhere Masai Ujiri goes, Giannis will go. All right. And so I know this for a fact. If Giannis is going to leave anywhere else, he's going to go where Masai Ujiri is going to be located. Right now, it's with the Raptors. All right. because they still have they still have the players, and they still have some salary space that they can create to make room for Giannis. And you know they're going to do whatever they can to keep Pascal Siakam too. So put it like this. The Golden State Warriors, they can dream about it all they want to, but they're not going to do it. It's just too complicated, and it's basically, it's going to be too much salary that they're going to have to get rid of. They're going to have to get rid of pretty much, half of their roster and get rid of key components to get rid of them. I wouldn't mind letting them get rid of Draymond Green. He's basically, a bum. You can get rid of him. As I see LouisSportsNetwork, he just subscribed to the channel. What's going on, man? Welcome to the channel, bro. Salute. Welcome aboard, though, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just don't see it happening. It just wouldn't work out too well. You know what I mean? I wouldn't mind them getting rid of Draymond Green because he's a bum anyway, and they wasted $100 million on him. But to get rid of Klay Thompson to make it happen, no, bro. It's not. It wouldn't be worth it. You would be losing a key shooter off of your team for what? For a guy that may not commit long term for the Golden State Warriors? No, bro. I don't think it ain't gonna work though, bro. It's just I just don't see that happening. So with that out the way, I'm going to get into the next topic in hand here, which is basically the underground basically the conference call meeting that the players had with Chris Paul. And it featured Giannis, James Harden, LeBron James, Steph Curry, James Harden, and various other stars around the NBA. Because they're pretty much in agreements of wanting to resume the season with safety precautions. If they wanted to, find out a way that they could continue the season without risking, hurting anybody. You know what I mean? With this whole coronavirus pandemic. And, there's been a lot of legends out there that's been pretty much against it. Shaquille O'Neal's been one of them, basically saying, like, it's not safe to basically continue basketball throughout the season. And besides, even if they win the championship, there's going to be a major asterisk to that name because according to the new rules that are coming out, if one player gets sick with coronavirus, they're done for the rest of the season. So if LeBron James, or let's say, God forbid, Giannis or Kawhi Leonard or any of superstar, gets sick from coronavirus, over. You're not playing for the rest of the year because you basically be a danger to the rest of the players. And I have been on the record on this channel many, many times throughout since the league got postponed to basically shut down the season altogether. And for a lot of these analysts there that want to, to resume the season or things of that sort, y'all don't understand what's going on here. Having these players play on the court, you know what I mean, it's going to be a huge liability issue because, listen, the virus can spread through close contact, all right? And I've already saw from Shams Charania of The Athletic that the Lakers are going to open up their facility tomorrow, which is going to be even a bigger problem because right now these franchises are allowing, not only their facilities are open for the players. Listen, I just don't want to hear any more of this talk about, oh, I want basketball to resume because you don't want to see the playoffs and all that. Bro, nobody's going to take that seriously. Even if you resume it the next year, nobody's going to take that champion very seriously. All right. So Louis Sports Network says that's my issue with these players coming back. Yeah, absolutely 100. George Page says with no crowds to attend the games, it would be a waste of time. Oh yeah, it would be a waste of time. Louis Sports says, I really want to see if the NBA really has a plan. I want to see too. Listen, I don't know if they have a solid, concrete plan to try to figure this out because they're going off of the health experts of the World Health Organization right now. You understand? And Louis Sports Network says at George Page, mainstream will take advantage of this, knowing the people will watch it. But you're right. Oh yeah, absolutely. George Page is 100% on the money. It would be a waste of time for players to play with no crowd noise. But the thing is, though, bro, it's all about the money at the end of the day. It's very much the money that these players are losing right now for not participating in the postseason. That's what this comes down to at the end of the day. And the thing is, though, bro, if I'm a star player right now, I'm looking at all my contemporaries like, are y'all stupid? Are y'all crazy? I'm not risking my life, to play basketball right now. I got to worry about my family. I got to worry about the people that is around me. I got to take care of, all the things around me because we don't know if if basketball is going to resume for a while. We don't know that. You know what I mean? And I already know right now there's more people dying out here in these streets because of the coronavirus. All right. And a lot of these states are basically softening up their lockdown regulations and stuff like that to try to promote social distancing, which is going to be very, very hard to do. I already heard that Texas is already having 1,000 cases per day of coronavirus. So it's getting worse and worse by the day. So at the end of the day, though, guys, the NBA should just stop playing with this nonsense and just pretty much go directly forward and say, no more basketball. All right, we're pretty much canceling the entire season. You know what I mean? And prepare for next year. I agree with Shaq's comments. With the rest of the analysts like the Stephen A. Smiths, the Nick Wrights, and the Shannon Sharps of the world that want the season to continue, listen, it all comes down to is money. They want the season to continue because they know that the NBA produces the most amount of money and revenue at the moment right now, and not the NFL or the other leagues right now. You think that they care about? You think they care about the well-being of these players? I highly doubt it. Even though they'll say it on camera that they do, but internally they don't. They honestly don't. George Bates says players are superstitious. They don't want to take a chance. I know. They're not going to say it publicly, but you know what they want. LouisSportsNetwork says players are living paycheck to paycheck, losing. Then, bro, did you hear about Steph and LeBron may have to give part of their salary back? Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. They got to give some of their salary back for the amount of games that they have not been able to play. That's why they've been trying to get the season moving again. That's why. Frank Casafomo says pro sport events without a crowd are nearly unwatchable. You're damn right it is. I mean, what's going on with WWE at the moment? They're trying to do their own shows without any crowds right now, and it's just unbearable to watch. And they're losing money with each passing day. George Page says, "Look at wrestling." Oh, yeah, that's that. That just pointed that out, George Page. I beat you right to it. And Frank Casafomo says, "Exactly, George Page. Yep." On the money, though, guys. Y'all on the money. What I'm talking about. See, this is what I'm talking about, guys. Why would people waste their time watching a sporting event with no crowd noise or anything else like that? I peeked at the UFC event last weekend, and bro, the fighters didn't even want to grapple each other because they were afraid of getting coronavirus. If that's the case, and I'm seeing a lot of less crowd people in that stand right now, can you imagine watching NFL, baseball, or even basketball or hockey without any crowd noise? Come on, it just would not make any sense. I mean, it literally would not make any sense whatsoever. All right, and I'm fearful that when the winter season comes around, when the flu season comes around the corner, it's going to get even more worse, and it's going to make all the sports leagues look bad because they had the opportunity to basically protect the players, and if one of them gets sick or multiple players get sick, man, it's going to be a liability lawsuit waiting to happen. And I promise you, I'm going to sit back and just pretty much say, I told you so. You know what I mean? And they probably won't listen to that because they only care about one thing, is that's their money. That just is what it is. George Bates said they had a fighter who had the virus. Wow. Really? And still Dana White continued the event. Man, this dude, man. LouisSportsNetwork say the only thing good about WWE is that WWE have been the promos, but that's about it without any crowd noise. Yep, and trust me, WWE promos pretty much suck major ass, bro. Listen, man, Vince McMahon pretty much controls most of the stuff that goes on in these shows, though, bro. And his creativity, it sucks, bro. It absolutely sucks. Souza tested positive. Oh, Souza? Who's that Souza trick nose? Can you give out the full name, please? I don't know who Souza is. Souza. Oh, Ronaldo Sosa. Okay. Ronaldo Sosa tested positive for coronavirus. Wow. So Dana White still continued on the event, but then afterwards he tested positive for coronavirus. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm saying, y'all, this whole entire time. And pretty much the NBA players are pretty much saying, oh, we still want to we're still trying to find a way to continue the season, basically following the safety guidelines. Bro, stop it. Bro, dude, this is beyond ridiculous, though, man. Do you all understand that that coronavirus can spread anywhere right now at this particular point? That you have to protect yourself? Man, this is beyond ridiculous, man. You know what I mean? And Dana White don't care. Exactly, Louis Sport. He don't care. As long as he makes his money. What's up, Brown Unboxing? He said the money conversation goes both ways. Players don't get paid if there aren't any games. Yep, that's just the truth of the matter, though, man. That's Louis Sports says. Louis Sports Network say Dana don't care. Yep, yep. And Trick Note, they said he tested positive before the fight. Wow, and still competed, man. Man, it's gonna fall on Dana's head, though, bro. I'm telling you. But yeah, I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna close the NBA argument, the topic by just putting it like this. The players just go straight forward and just say, no more basketball. Protect the players. All right, we'll just have to take the financial hit and move on. You know what I mean? As Tay Brown basically says, people are not listening. I know, I feel you, Tay Tay, and listen, Tay Tay, you've been on the front line since the beginning. You know how much people are getting sick by this, and you know that people are just still don't want to listen. If they get sick though, man, that's on them. You know what I mean? Y'all, you know what it is. Omar Page, what's going on, bro? How you doing? Trick Nolte said it's true, and George Ray said, "I take it around. People don't care." Yep, that's just pretty much what it is, though, y'all. That is what it is. So that's just pretty much killed the topic at hand here, guys. So now I'm gonna get into the heart of this show, though, here, guys. So we're gonna talk about episodes 7 and 8 of the documentary. But let me take care of the rest of the guys in the chat here. Trick Nolte said, hate Dana White, but that UFC card was stacked. I'm sure it was, man. I'm sure it was. MehariNation said, and make sure you give it a little wrench too. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, hold on. All right. Oh, hold on. There we go. All right, there you go. Louis Sports Network, you got a wrench now too, my brother. All right, there we go. All right, now Tate Brown also said it's going to be a cruel summer wearing that fucking mask. Yeah, I know. I feel you, man. I'm sure it's going to get even worse. During the summertime. I'm fearful for winter. That's my biggest fear. George Bay says they had a fight Wednesday night. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. I'm not trying to turn it to a UFC subject, but it kind of fit along about what the NBA players were pretty much trying to do and all that. But yeah, Dana White don't care. He just don't care. As long as he makes his money, he just don't care. That just is what it is, though, too, at this particular point. But yeah, now I'm gonna get into the episodes 8 of the Last Dance. If you guys haven't watched the episodes yet, man, you have missed out on a lot of good stuff. Now, for a lot of you guys that have pretty much followed the Chicago Bulls from the beginning, most of this stuff is not a surprise to you, including for me, because I pretty much know almost 95% of it. But there were a lot of things there in that in the episodes that I pretty much didn't hear about, the little inner details of things. Okay. So, episode 7 was pretty much talking about after Jordan won his 3rd straight championship over the Phoenix Suns. Michael Jordan was pretty much, distraught after, he was mentally exhausted from that whole journey to the three-peat. As I see my brother Lawrence Williams in the building, Lawrence Williams in the building. Salute. Oh yeah, J.J. Brown said, but I'm off the bed. I had to work in the morning. Good night, everyone. Stay safe. Oh yeah, absolutely. You stay safe out there, Tay Brown. We still love you there. I'll be waiting for that mac and cheese from you. That's for sure. No, I'm joking. Yep. Yeah. All right. TJ Joyner, what's going on, man? Welcome to the channel too, man. Welcome. All right. Louis Sports Network says more people will be sick with those masks on in the summer, but the winter will be more fearful because the virus is coming back. Yup. Absolutely. I don't disagree one bit. But let me get into the review of episode 7 of the documentary here, guys. Okay. So pretty much they left off of two. They were basically bouncing off back and forth here between the first round of the '98 playoffs when they swept the New Jersey Nets, but then they were mostly particularly talking about when Michael Jordan began the slowness to his retirement. But they pretty much touched upon how about his father's murder, and there was a personal friend and a personal friend of the family named George Kuldner, who basically was supposed to pick up Jordan's father from the airport, but he didn't arrive during that time. So they thought that he was still playing golf in back in South Carolina. Just be just hanging out with some friends and stuff like that. So he probably got sidetracked. So, but they talked about how Jordan and his father were pretty much best of friends. Jordan looked up to his father, you know, deeply because he was the kind of guy that pushed him to be better in athletics and be better in every aspect of his life. And he always leaned to him for, a lot of advice. And he was there for him when he won his first 3 championships. So he was supposed to be waiting for him, you know, at the airport, but he didn't arrive. So then they didn't hear from him for 3 weeks, and they got worried about it. And Jordan pretty much talked about that anytime that his father was on the road, he was in contact with his wife and everyone else in the family to make sure that that he was all right. But they didn't hear from him for 3 weeks, and so they got really, really worried. So then they put out a search, basically the missing warrants to try to find out where he was. And then they found his car, left abandoned somewhere with the glass, shattered though. So, and then afterwards, about 3 weeks, on August the 3rd of 1983, they found his body swamped in McCall, South Carolina. All right. So apparently, on that day of July 23rd of 1993, while basically returning back from a funeral and basically playing golf with some friends, when he was trying to drive back up U.S. Highway 74 just over south of Lumberton, North Carolina, he was basically taking a nap. And then he was basically confronted by 2 young black men who basically, ran up to him and tried to steal his stuff. And both of them shot, Mr. James Jordan in the chest and then basically stole the vehicle. All right. And unfortunately, because his body was in street decomposition, his identity was not identified until the August of the 13th with the help of his dental records. You know what I mean? And it was very, very tough. I mean, I can remember Ahmad Rashad pretty much talking about how, that it was pretty much a very sad, feeling. And he talked about how he had to help Michael Jordan put on his suit tie because Michael Jordan had trouble doing it because he was so mentally distraught about it. But I really blew my mind when during that whole time when Michael talked about the whole, funeral of his father. He basically looked at it as tried to take a lot of positive through this because, his father taught him always look at the positive throughout, negative times in life. And I really felt that, Michael did a really good job of, composing himself and pretty much talking about the good things about his father, even through this horrific tragedy. You know what I mean? But, the really sick and fucking twisted part of this is how the media tried to manipulate Jordan's father's murder and try to link it to his gambling controversy. That really right there really pissed me off. All right. And it was just, I remember reading about some of that stuff, what the media was doing during that time. And it just made me mad all over again. Like, you idiots in the media, are you really going to try to, twist the narrative that Michael Jordan's father's murder had something to do with his gambling controversy? Really? I didn't blame Jordan at all when he pretty much said, pretty much wanted to retire after that because he was getting tired of, all this controversy about his gambling and about, how much money was losing due to the gambling and all that stuff, though, bro. And, it just made me so mad all over again. And I can't blame Jordan for feeling that way because I would have felt the same way, too. As I check people in the chat there, George Bates says they supposed to find that in the river. Yeah, I just mentioned that. Yep. And he said, no, actually, one of the boys was black and the other was Native American. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. For sure, man. Thank you. And he said, I live 20 miles from Lumberton. Oh, wow. That's sad, man. Yep. And LouisSportsNetwork said his mom kept it strong during that difficult time. Oh, yeah. It was a difficult time, because Michael loved his dad, very deeply as like a best friend. And Michael pretty much talked about how their last conversation, they were debating about if Michael wanted to play baseball. And, James pretty much, encouraged him to do it. Go ahead and pursue it, you know what I mean? And pretty much that day, they also talked about how, before game 1 of the 93 ALCS between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, all right, they were at Comiskey Park, and pretty much, Michael Jordan was basically told Ryan Soto he was retiring, all right? And the big takeaway is that how the media finds a way to leak this information, because When the word came out that Michael Jordan was going to retire, I swear to you, it felt like a media circus. It felt like it was like all the media from not just around the country, but around the world came into Chicago because it was the biggest story on it was the biggest story, in the history of sports, that Michael Jordan was confirming his retirement in his prime at the age of 31. You know what I mean? It was just unbelievable. And I love the fact of how they touched upon the conspiracy about, David Stern, you know, uh, basically gave him a hidden suspension because they were still under investigation about the gambling thing. Because here's the thing. Number one, there was nothing about the gambling thing. It was all bullshit. And for a guy, yeah, Frank Casas former said, "What do you think about the 18 months rumor about the 18-month suspension?" Yeah, I'm getting into that right now. I'm just about to get into that, bro. I believe throughout my whole entire time of knowing Michael Jordan, I never believed the rumors about a suspension. Why in the world would David Stern and the NBA, give a hidden suspension to their star player, who was basically the most marketable player and the face of the NBA of that time? It made no sense to me, and I'm glad that all the people that worked in the NBA during that time, pretty much shut down that rumor because it made no sense. And I'm glad that David Stern, before he died last year, pretty much shut down the rumor because it pretty much made no sense, because David Stern was pretty much a capitalist. All right. And Mark Mark Van Seal, who pretty much wrote the book, you know, Rare Air, he even said that Michael Jordan even had plans even during the summer of '92 when he was playing for the USA Dream Team, because Michael was pretty much exhausted and tired of the rigorous course of basketball and throughout all the championship runs. But he just said he didn't want to retire because he wanted to accomplish the three-peat. All right, because if he had the decision, he could have retired a year earlier in that summer of '92. But he chose not to do that because he wanted to make history and winning 3 straight championships. And guess what? He did that. I give Jordan credit. I pretty much give Jordan credit for stepping up and pretty much saying, "Listen, I don't have any more inner challenges in me. I played that much basketball. I'm just exhausted. I'm worn out. I'm done. I'm just exhausted." And I give him credit for that. Not many athletes are willing to admit that they don't have the inner challenges to keep on going, even though they've won multiple championships. It's hard, man. It's pretty much hard. I feel it on that. Absolutely. So let me go ahead and check out the chat real quick. Louis Sports Network says the haters, the media looked at anything to criticize them because of a starter, and they were getting top of being on top by '93. Oh yeah, absolutely. I talked about that last week. They did anything they could to try to bring him down, because of what? Gambling on golf games and blackjack. Bro, there have been a lot more players that have done a lot of gambling. And listen, Pete Rose right now is banned from baseball for basically, gambling on baseball games. All right. If I don't know if that's not a double standard, I don't know what is though, man. I really know. Yep. And XA Gucci 23, what's going on though, bro? Salute though, man. What's going on, brother? How you doing though, man? Hang on a second here. There you go. So yeah, it was a mess. But I'm gonna get into the baseball thing in a moment, but right now, because Mr. Lawrence Williams said that I didn't know Michael had a 13-game hitting streak to start his baseball career. I didn't know either. That really surprised me the most. You know what I mean? Because Michael had to pretty much change his entire workout regimen from basketball to baseball. All right, and practice playing in the outfield. And when he was sent down to Double A in Birmingham, Alabama, Terry Francona, who now manages for the Cleveland Indians, pretty much said that Michael Jordan respected what we were doing, and pretty much wanted to be one of the guys. And the guy pretty much put the work in to be a very good baseball player, because after that 13-game hitting streak, he couldn't even hit a breaking ball because all the pitchers started to recognize if you throw him breaking balls, he won't hit them. And it was getting so bad that Michael was not doing very well in baseball that Sports Illustrated made the issue cover that's pretty much stated, "Oh, bag it, Mike. How bad he was hitting though." Louis Sports says, "Keep up the great work, bro. Salute to the chat. Doing a live stream myself now, but I will let you know. But I'll let the others know about this channel. PCU in the chat. Hey, thanks, man. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in, though, bro. Much love, though, bro. Thank you for tuning in, though, bro, and keep spreading the word about the channel, though. I appreciate it, man. And I'll check out your channel, though, too, sometime in the future. Absolutely. But yeah, and George Bates also said that they're still trying to lift Pete Band's banishment from the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I've been one of those people that kind of just said, listen, he served his punishment and all that. But of course, of this argument, though, bro, like, listen, Michael Jordan did not gamble on basketball games. He just basically did the casino gambling. That's not an illegal thing. What Pete Rose did was way worse than that. But I believe that Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for what he did in baseball. It's not like he gambled on, for his team to lose. He only gambled on the team to win. You know what I mean? But that's a different subject, though. I'm not going to go too deep into that. But yeah, what was I saying again? Oh yes. So pretty much, Sports Illustrated made that offensive article about how bad Michael Jordan was pretty much, playing baseball. Basically saying that it was an illusion that Michael Jordan could succeed in baseball. Michael Jordan cut his relationship from SI after that. You know what I mean? He just said, not dealing with you guys no more. And I give Jordan credit. He put the work in. He basically committed himself to, teach to be a better baseball player. And over time, he batted 202 and drove in 50 runs. I mean, that's just impressive. You know what I mean? For a guy that didn't even play baseball for about what? 13 years, something like that, when he stopped playing when he was 17 and then resumed back in 31. I give him credit. He committed himself to the work and the grind. And I will say this, though, too. I think playing baseball pretty much refocused him back to basketball in the later years because he pretty much understood the grind and pretty much respected the people that were still trying to make their dreams to make it into Major League Baseball, too. As I see my brother GG in the building. What's going on, though, bro? Salute to you, my brother. Salute to you, man. Also, Lou, the sports writer, said Michael was the first person on the ballpark and the last one to leave. I definitely agree with you, man. I definitely agree with you 100%. You know, I mean, he pretty much did batting cages. He committed to working out. I mean, I bet the thing is, though, that his whole baseball experience pretty much rejuvenated him to come back into basketball. And I think that he pretty much showed that, listen, with hard work and determination and everything else in between, you can achieve anything. And that's what Michael Jordan pretty much did throughout his baseball experience. But also, episode 7 did touch about the 93-94 Bulls. Now, that team, though, guys, listen, the experts at that time pretty much thought that the Bulls were not going to even be in the mix for another championship run because they just lost Michael Jordan. So, pretty much, it was going to be, Scottie Pippen and the rest of the holdovers. And I'll tell you what, that 93-94 Bulls team really surprised a lot of people. They won 55 games, all right, and Pippen finished third in MVP voting and averaged about 22 points per game, and also won All-Star MVP in 94 too as well. Pretty much the documentary did a great job, illustrating and talking about how the triangle offense was pretty much worked to perfection, too, because they didn't have to worry about throwing the ball to Jordan and pretty much controlling most of the offense. It was pretty much an offense that was free-flowing and allowed the players to, to basically be a part of the offense. And as a result, there were a lot of people that really saw how talented the Bulls were as a collective unit because they won by committee. And Horace Grant and B.J. Armstrong all made the All-Star team along with Pippen as well. So, yeah, they succeeded beyond expectations and finished the third rank in the Eastern Conference. But I want to get into about the sit-down incident with Scottie Pippen during the New York Knicks series. The Bulls were down like 2-0 of that series, okay? And pretty much the Knicks and the Bulls were tied at 102. And Scottie Pippen wanted to take the last shot. But Phil Jackson pretty much drew up a play for Tony Kukoc to take the last shot because Tony Kukoc had hit 3 to 4 game winners throughout that same season. All right. And Pippen was frustrated. He was pissed off because he wanted to take the last shot. So he refused to get back into the ball game because he wanted Pippen to take the ball out of bounds for Kukoc to take the shot. And You know what Phil Jackson said? You know what? The hell with them. Myers, you take the ball out. And what made it even worse was Kukoc made the shot and won the game and pretty much got the Bulls back into the series. You understand what I'm saying? Now I knew that the players were not happy about what Pippen decided to do during that last few moments of the game because they knew that it was not in Scotty's character. Steve Kerr even said like it was not in Scotty's character to act this way, and so the one thing I did not know about is that Bill Cartwright was pretty much literally in tears when he said, "Scotty, you let us down, man. You let us down." And yeah, and Pippen recognized, he fucked up. He fucked up and paid the price for it. But you know what really disturbed me the most though is when Pippen reflected about it. He pretty much said, "If I had to do it over, I'd do it all over. I would basically do the same thing again." Like, really, Pippen? Really, man? Like, listen, though, bro. I get, though. Listen, here's what I feel about Pippen. I feel like Pippen gets a little bit of sympathy for me because he was a guy that wanted to prove that he was a better player outside of Michael Jordan. I get that, bro. I totally understand 100%. But at the end of the day, though, bro, you chose yourself instead of the team. And you really made a bad impression on yourself. And this is still talked about to this day because people are looking at Pippen as a selfish player off of two different things. The contract incident, I should say the contract situation when he signed the 7-year, $18 million deal he signed in 91 and that incident in 94. All these incidents have really made Scottie Pippen into a selfish player. And I know that he was basically been upset about how he felt that the documentary has negatively portrayed him as a very selfish person. Pippen did this to himself. He did this to himself by making the decisions that he made. You know what I mean? If he would have decided about a lot of the things that he decided about, maybe we would have had a little bit of sympathy for him. But I just have a tiny bit of sympathy for him. But that's where it ends right there. Because at the end of the day, he chose himself above the team. And that's what it comes down to. And I felt disappointed that he decided to do that. And I didn't appreciate that at all. But the one thing that I really was impressed about with Michael Jordan was that, as I check out the chat real quick, he said, "What about those pickup games and why he shoot the movie Space Jam?" We'll get into that a little bit. Louis Sports Writer says Pippen's jump shot was average. I would say not. Do you want to use it to shoot at the halftime? Okay. So I got what you were saying. You were saying that we wouldn't trust Pippen to take a jump shot because he was basically an average shooter. I do agree with that. But yeah, so pretty much though that towards the end of the documentary, they talked about how Michael would pretty much push you to try to get you to play at a certain level, and Michael Jordan pretty much flat out admitted, like, listen, if you weren't going to play up to the standard that's required to win a championship, he's going to make life hell for you because he was going to ridicule you every single time. And, man, did he ever ridicule Scott Burrell every time, though, bro? I'll tell you what, though, man. Let me tell you this, though, right now. I felt that, Scott Burrell, could have been a more talented player if he was motivated a little better. But the problem was he was just too nice of a guy. You know what I mean? The thing is, though, bro, like, listen, at the end of the day, Michael was trying to get you to fight him, not in a negative way, but try to respond back to try to say you're not going to put up with his bullying and all that. But Scott Burrell was just too nice of a guy. I mean, Michael ripped into Scott Burrell in a way where, like, bro, I would at least try to say, hey, bro, stop talking that shit, man. Stop talking that trash that to me. But, but the problem with Michael that he sometimes doesn't always understand, and I think Scott Burrell even mentioned this too, that there's only one Michael Jordan. And, Michael Jordan is pretty much one different breed, though. And even Judd Bushel even said that, listen, he was our teammate, but we feared him during practices. And guess what? If Michael saw that you were not given any level of major effort to make you a better player, he was going to make life a miserable time for you because Michael basically put in a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice to get what he wanted to be. You know what I mean? And if you were basically coming in here and not giving the same effort and the same, work ethic that he was putting in, he was going to make your life miserable. And towards the end, he was getting very emotional about it because that's how much he loved the game and that's how much he wanted to win. And I feel like today's players don't understand the kind of work ethic and the kind of sacrifice that Michael Jordan was doing to try to get them to play at a championship level. And guess what? It worked. It worked when you win 6 championships. All right, and that's why I'm afraid that LeBron James is falls short off the map because he did not commit. He did not have the same kind of hunger, the same fire that both Michael and Kobe had in their respective careers. That's why that LeBron James falls way below the standard of both Jordan and Kobe in that aspect. All right. So let me go ahead and check it out. Hit the chat real quick. Frank Foremost says, "Gotta be honest, I think Pippen is one of the best small forwards ever, but he would have missed." Right. And another thing though too, I almost forgot. Somebody tried to ask me though, what would happen if Michael Jordan was in the same bench though, and Grace called to go to shot? Well, here's the problem though. Phil Jackson was not even going to draw up a play for Kukoc as Michael was in the game because everybody in the building knew that Michael Jordan was going to take the last shot. There was going to be no debate about it. But Tony Kukoc was a better shooter and better clutch player in that situation than Pippen was. And Pippen had a hard time understanding that. I just wanted to bring that into light. Anthony Brown says, You're better than me. I don't have any. He brought that on. He brought that on himself. Oh yeah. Absolutely. You definitely right about that. Pippen did everything on himself. You know what I mean? And for him to basically say he doesn't regret doing it, it left a bad taste in my mouth about Pippen though, bro. Even though I respect him, what he did during his career, he left a bad taste in my mouth when he basically said that. So yeah, that was pretty much what I felt about episode 7. Now, I'm going to get into episode 8 a bit because episode 8 pretty much talks about when Michael Jordan decided to come back from baseball to basketball. And they also touched about the story about LeBradford Smith and during the 92-93 season. Pretty much LeBradford Smith had the game of his life when he scored 37 points against Michael Jordan, all right? There was a perceived story that LeBradford Smith went up to Michael Jordan around his shoulder and said, "Nice game, Mike." And Michael was pretty much mad about it. So the next night, they went up to Washington, and Michael dropped 36 points in the first half and finished the game with 47 points. And when the reporters asked about the whole thing about what LeBradford Smith said, Michael pretty much admitted that he lied about it. He made that whole thing up to try to motivate himself to basically embarrass the kid. Like, that's Michael Jordan for you. Michael was going to find a way to motivate himself and reach at a certain level to pretty much and not just beat you, but humiliate you, though, bro. You know what I'm saying? That was just really, really bad, though, bro. Michael Jordan was just a competitive psychopath. You know what I mean? Anthony Brown said, "Yeah, that was a bad look, Abel." Oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. Frank Foremost said, "Oh yeah, MJ was a maniac." Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Louis the sport writer said, "I know LeBradford says he's still talking about it to this day." Oh, yep, that's right. He still talks about it to this day, bro. But yeah, that's just how competitive Michael was. He just was basically a competitive psychopath. All right. He wanted to beat you, but not just beat you, but humiliate you and stomp you on your neck to let you know he was the king of the NBA. Something that LeBron James do not have. I'm sorry, y'all. 25 girlie said a competitive psychopath. Yep, that's like what I said. But yeah, pretty much though, it was pretty much Michael was still doing the baseball, but when baseball was on strike during that 94-95 period, baseball was going to bring in replacement players, and Michael didn't want to cross the picket line and be a replacement player. So pretty much, Michael was kind of like, you know what, I might try to go back into practice. And he met up with BJ Armstrong, had breakfast, and then he walked into the Chicago facility and started playing one-on-one basketball with BJ Armstrong, and then eventually started going back into the practices again. And then pretty much the rumors started to speck around that Michael Jordan was coming back. And then basically he put out a statement by David Falk and his agent, and pretty much said the two famous words, "I'm back." And on March 19th of 1995, all right, he returned back to basketball where he went up against the Indiana Pacers. And I kid you not, it was the highest rated regular season game on NBC, and basically on the NBA on NBC though, bro. it was pretty much, it was pretty much the highest rated regular season game when Michael Jordan decided to come back. Now, Michael didn't do that great in his first game back as expected because he was basically playing basketball for the first time, you know, in what, in about the last 14 months. Okay. That stat line uh, he shot 7 of 28 and scored 19 points. Oh, Frank has it more said, but MJ never tried that tough stuff with Kendall Gill. Oh, no. I think Michael respected a little Kendall Gill a little bit more than LeBradford Smith. Oh, yeah, though, bro. Oh, most certainly. But yeah, before that game, though, guys, I didn't recognize that Michael was pretty much playing basketball for the first time without his dad, and he basically got emotional about it because his dad was not there. And he was returning back for the final 17 games of that 94-95 year when the Bulls were pretty much 34-31 and were not going anywhere. And when Michael came back, the Bulls went 13-4 during that 17-game stretch. All right. And Michael slowly was getting back into full form when he was wearing number 45, which also fitted his fifth game back in Madison Square Garden when he dropped 55 on the Knicks' head and pretty much showed that, hey, I'm back. I'm still the same old Jordan. And pretty much they went as the fifth seed. They beat the Charlotte Hornets in 5 games, but they had to win up against the Orlando Magic, which also had Horace Grant as their power forward. Because remember, Horace Grant left the Bulls as a free agent to sign with the Magic. And still, there were some bitter feelings between Grant and the Bulls, though, during that time, too. I still remember when Michael Jordan got stripped from behind by Nick Anderson. And, man, did the media lay it into Michael Jordan when that happened, though, bro. Man, it was basically humiliating, though, bro. And then afterwards, Nick Anderson basically number 45 doesn't play like number 23. And boy, did that really anger Jordan, because the next time Michael came back and wore 23 and dropped 38 points on Nick Anderson's head. You understand? But the problem was that Michael Jordan was not in basketball shape. He was still pretty much in baseball shape, and he was making, uncharacteristic mistakes. You know what I mean? And people knew about it because, one, Michael was not himself anymore, and two, they didn't have a power forward to pretty much grab rebounds and play interior defense. That's what they were missing when they lost Horace Grant as a free agent. All right? And Michael pretty much talked about it when they lost to the Magic in 6 games in 95. It was pretty much motivation to go back and pretty much get back into the swing of things and get back into basketball shape. And when they were shooting the Space Jam film that was going to be released the next year, Michael had he had like a all-day schedule. First, he woke up, had breakfast, did the shooting of the film, okay, and then went to his own private workout facility, all right, and did most of his training there. And then when they invited NBA players to come over and play with Michael Jordan, all right, he still had enough energy to play 5-on-5 basketball with some of the best players in the NBA, like Juwan Howard, Reggie Miller, Dennis Rodman, Horace Grant, Patrick Ewing, Sean Bradley. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, Reggie Miller even talked about how he was amazed about the energy level of Michael Jordan because he would practice. I'm sorry. He would film the Space Jam film, take a rest, do his workout, and then later on in the evening play 5-on-5 pickup ball. Like, it showed that Michael Jordan still had enough energy. So by the time spring training camp was starting up, Michael was already in premium shape and was ready to get back into that championship form. And boy, did that happen, though, man. Lou, the sports writers, the writer sports said, my favorite game was the 55-point game in Madison Square Garden. Me too, bro. Absolutely. It was my favorite game, though, too. Yeah, it was pretty much a historical performance of a lifetime, man. And, man, he was making shots from everywhere and pretty much told the Knicks fans, I'm back. You know what I'm saying? It was awesome, though, bro. I loved it. Every single minute of it. All right? So, they also talked about how Michael Jordan had the incident with Steve Kerr during the practice, and Michael Jordan was a kind of guy that was going to test you and was going to push you, and Steve Kerr was a guy that showed patience, but he also had a competitive streak in him, and basically Steve Kerr was getting all the calls from Phil Jackson, and it was really getting irritating Michael Jordan. And then on the next point, though, too, Um, Michael Jordan pretty much got tired of it, and Steve Kerr elbowed. I think Steve Kerr he pushed off Michael with an elbow through his chest, and then Michael Jordan gave him a right hand, whacked Steve Kerr in the eye, and basically Michael Jordan was thrown out of practice by Phil Jackson, and then basically he recognized, man, I messed up. And he called up Steve Kerr and just said, "I'm just so sorry. I didn't mean to do that." And I think that was the big moment too. I think that pretty much Michaels had much more respect for Steve Kerr for pretty much standing up for himself and not, backing down for Michael Jordan, because a lot of players would have not not a lot of players would probably back down for that kind of confrontation. But, it worked out well for their partnership. But yeah, that 95-96 season was pretty much, redemption year. And it helped when they had Dennis Rodman on their team to help with the defense and the rebounding, though, too. And did you guys know that that Bulls team started out 41-3, and pretty much they were undefeated throughout the entire month of January? I mean, they were pretty much not just beating teams, they were dominating teams. You know what I'm saying? And then they pretty much finished that year for 72-10, and pretty much finished out that year just on its air, though, guys. You know what I mean? And you know what, though, Frank, as foremost, I was asking myself, though, too. I don't think there was no footage of that, though, too. Even if there was, I don't think they were going to show it, though, either, too, because, I think the description of what happened was pretty much good enough. But I would have loved to show the footage of it, too. I was hoping they would do that, but, they didn't do that. So, it is what it is. But, yeah, after that, though, man, they went into the playoffs and on a momentum swing. They only lost one playoff game. The only competitive series of that time was the New York Knicks in the second round, and they lost Game 3 in overtime. But Michael dropped 46 against the Knicks. Okay, and those games were kind of much started by at least 5 points or less. And if the Knicks didn't make the same mistakes they were making in that fourth game, they would have been a longer series. But it wasn't meant to be. Then came the revenge against the Magic, and you knew Michael was chopping up the bit to try to get revenge on the Magic. And from that first game, the Bulls blew him out by 38 points. And, Horace Grant came into that series with an injured elbow that he suffered during the Atlanta series against the Atlanta Hawks, okay? Hold on one second. All right, sorry about that. So yeah, that was pretty much yeah. After that, Horace Grant re-injured his elbow, and it was pretty much done for the series. And the Bulls pretty much overwhelmed the Magic with their defense and their rebounding. And Shaq and Penny had their points, but they shut down Dennis Scott's 3-point shooting. He actually set a record for most threes made in the season that got broken 3 times by Ray Allen and Steph Curry too. But yeah, the Bulls broke them down in a way where it was just humiliating, though, bro. And they swept the Magic in 4 straight, and that was pretty much the end of the Magic, between Shaq and Penny, because then Shaq left as a free agent that summer. But yeah, Anthony Brown said GP did a darn good job on NJ. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Oh, the OG Mike Biggz, boxing man, what's going on, bro? Been a minute though, bro. What's going on, man? Absolutely, man. It's been a while since I seen you, Mister So-called light-skinned brother. 225 Girls said, I was a diehard Magic fan then too. They broke up too early and when they lost to the Bulls. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Frank Casafomo said, I was a big Penny fan too. Yeah, bro. It's just a shame that Penny, the injuries to Penny Hardaway pretty much, ended his career, though, man. If he would have not had those injuries, he would have been in the Hall of Fame, most certainly. But yeah, they actually, but yeah, it was pretty much a sad thing, though, too, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, then they would get into the 96 finals against the Seattle Supersonics. And I'm telling you, the Sonics were not a bad team either. They won 64 games, you know what I mean? And Gary Payton was the Defensive Player of the Year. But you know what I mean? Oh, Mike Big says, chilling. Ain't nothing but quarantine thing, homie. Still light skin out there, bro. Mike Biggs, stop that though, bro. You are the same color as my elbow, though, bro. Get out of here, Mike Biggs. Man, Mike Biggz, you tripping though, bro. You ain't light skinned, man. You the same color as my elbow, bro. Come on, man. But yeah, my issue with that series was why George Karl did not put Gary Payton on Michael Jordan from the start of the series. Do you guys know that he put Deadlift Shrimp on Michael Jordan and put Gary Payton on Scottie Pippen? Really? That's why you lost the first 3 games of the series, because Michael Jordan pretty much did what he ever wanted to do. All right? Listen, Deadlift Shrimp was 6'11", but he was slow-footed against Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was pretty much tearing it apart at that time, okay? When Gary Payton pretty much decided, listen, I'm guarding Michael Jordan. I don't care what you think. You know what I mean? Payton probably had one of his best performances in the finals. And also, salute to Shawn Kemp, though, too. Shawn Kemp was playing the best basketball of his life that year in 96. He pretty much showed leaps and bounds to where he was when he came in out of high school, though, bro. But it's just a damn shame. It's a damn shame that they didn't give the guy the pay raise that he deserved on his contract. And they gave that bum, Jim McElvain, 7 years and $33 million. Really? That's why the Sonics broke up early, though, too, man. Man, a lot of good seasons in the 90s broke up too early after they lost to the Bulls, though, bro. Both the Magic and the Sonics, you know what I mean? Mike Biggz says Kemp was a god. Oh, yeah, absolutely. 225 Girls said, I had the Shaq jersey. I rooted for him when he got his first title. That after I rooted against him because of the team that he played for, the Lakers. And Frank Conformo said, I never liked the Lakers either, 100. And Anthony Brown said, agreed, Abel. He would have been a Hall of Famer. Oh, yeah, man, absolutely. But yeah, I was literally laughing my behind off when Gary Payton pretty much said, like, listen, I got to wear him down. I got to tire him out and all that. And when Michael Jordan was hearing Gary Payton about it, though, bro, like, listen. Michael was literally laughing his behind up because he respect Gary Payton, but Gary Payton was not on Michael's mind, as Michael said. Because he had pretty much a lot of things on his mind, like his father, though, the memory of him, because pretty much they won the title on Father's Day, and when Michael won the title on Father's Day, you know, it was a really surreal moment because he recognized his father's not there with him to celebrate, and he pretty much broke down crying. You know what I mean? It just was a really one of the most emotional moments in NBA history. You know what I mean? Watching Michael celebrate without his father around, a championship that he pretty much put all the work in to come back after missing all that time from baseball. You know what I mean? It was a really surreal moment, and still, you know, if it doesn't make you emotional about it, I don't know what will, man. So, and oh yeah, Lou, the writer of sports, said Shannon Sharp was weak, was out of his mind, saying that CLT was the weakest team ever played in the NBA Finals. Oh, yeah, man. I did a video about that, too, a couple of days ago. Go check it out, though, bro. Yeah, Shannon Sharp was pretty much capping again because he tried to illuminate the fact that, you know, LeBron played tougher competition while Michael Jordan did not. Like, really, bro? Get out of here. Shannon, you really do not know basketball, bro. Stay to football and just leave it there, though, bro. Don't even talk basketball ever again. You understand what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I got about both episodes 7 and 8 of those documentaries, though, bro. Because now the documentary is going to get into the 97 season and pretty much where things started to, you know, break up a little bit. You know what I mean? And Anthony Brown says, MJ needs to give GP some credit. He defended him better than anyone. Oh, yeah, I agree, bro. I agree. I think that Gary Payton, because of his ability to move his feet and his big hands, though, too, and his anticipation for the ball, made him a very tough person to deal with. Because even though Michael Jordan scored 20 points, it wasn't really the impactful games that he would have in the NBA Finals. He only had one breakout game, and that was when he had scored 36 points in that game 3. But Gary Payton wasn't guarding him at all. And so, and the other thing, though, that next year, too, as well, when the Bulls went up to Seattle for a nationally televised game, okay, on NBC, George Karl pretty much said that Jordan only takes jump shots because he doesn't want to get hurt when he drives the ball to the basket. And you know what Michael Jordan pretty much did? He pretty much tore apart Gary Payton and the Seattle defense for 45 points. Literally, on Mariri of jump shots. There was one shot where he made a half-court shot at the buzzer to end the first quarter of play when he scored 17 in the first quarter of play. I mean, Michael was pretty much eating up the Sonics alive and pretty much humiliating George Karl in the process. And the only reason why he didn't score 50 points is because they pretty much G checked him and pretty much defended him, pretty much denied him playing denial defense all game long. All right. Because the thing was though, bro, the Sonics weren't going to allow Gary Payton to get humiliated for 50 points. That was pretty much what was going to happen if the Sonics didn't play any good defense around it. But Michael scored 45 points and pretty much humiliated George Karl in the process. George Karl should have done his job and just shut his mouth and just let his players play. But George Karl's an egotist though. But I'm not going to get into too much about it because George Karl just makes me sick. But yeah, Anthony Brown says, that's right, Abel. Oh yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Keith McGee says, honestly, I honestly think out of all the teams the Bulls beat, I think the Phoenix Suns were the only one that should have beaten them. I do agree with that. I do agree. I think the Suns and the Jazz were the two teams that I felt that had the chance to beat the Bulls. 97 with the Jazz, because those games could have gone either way, but the Bulls made bigger plays than the Jazz did. And the Suns, though, too, the Suns, had a chances to beat the Bulls, in the first two games, but didn't capitalize on it. They got petrified and too nervous. And in that game 6, they actually had the Bulls beat. The Bulls actually had about 3 or 4 shot clock violations, and Michael Jordan was the only one scoring for that entire fourth quarter until John Paxson hit the game-winning shot. And so the Suns had great chances of beating the Bulls, but didn't capitalize on it. Same with the Jazz, though, too. You know what I mean? But they're going to get into all that stuff about the Jazz and the Pacers during the last few episodes, though, bro, because that's where we're going to get into the deeper context of things. And Anthony Brown says, yes, I agree with that, too. Oh, yeah, most definitely, though, too, guys. So, but yeah, that was just pretty much my analysis of both of those episodes. I think the episodes did a good job, highlighting a lot of the stuff, though, that was going on with Michael Jordan between 93 and 96, you know what I mean? And we're getting down to the home stretch, and we're going to review about the 98 Eastern Conference Finals, and they're going to review about the 98 Finals and pretty much the signature ending to one of the greatest dynasties in sports history. You know what I mean? Keith McGee says that Pacers team was a monster, bro. Oh, yeah, most definitely. They're going to get into that in episodes 9 and 10 of the series finale of the documentary, though, too, guys. So, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for now, though, guys. You know what I mean? I got to take care of some business there, too, guys, though. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in, though, guys. You guys have been very much been supportive throughout this whole live stream, though, too, guys. And I want to thank all the new people coming in, and just pretty much, explain their opinions and pretty much their perspectives, though, too. And Anthony Brown says, yep, that Jazz team was well built, too, and that led up to the end. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for the night, though, guys. But I'll be back next week for another episode of Basketball Conversation when we review the final 2 episodes of The Last Dance, too, guys. But keep your eyes out. I'm going to continue to produce more videos and produce more content for you guys. Make sure to share the live stream and smash the like button on the way out. So this is Bill Mehari, represent MehariNation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC, and stay safe throughout this whole coronavirus pandemic, too, guys. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all have a good night, guys. I'll see y'all next week.